What is up, my little deinos? Webs is CEO coach of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are here for the BFO Surge WIFI tournament top 16 playoff bracket when we go up against Kahuutz. And before we jump into the action itself, when you get to see the battle, as usual, I'm gonna be talking about the transactions that I made that will take effect in this battle. You're gonna be seeing two new members coming into this battle, and the mod that you see right now on the screen will be the one that I unfortunately have to drop down in order for this to happen. Why did I make this change? I'm gonna be jumping into it right now, but if you want to skip this part of the video, the timestamp link should be popping right about now on your screen, so you can skip this part of the video and go and see the battle in itself instead. But now talking about the reasons why I'm gonna be unfortunately dropping the mod that I was really looking forward to use in tournament, but I made a painful choice. Now dropping it down was going to be the Blastoise. The reasonings behind this were pretty much based on the fact that I had an idea that who I'm going to be playing in this round, particularly between 4 different coaches. And as I was analyzing their teams and thinking different scenarios, that what kind of matchups I'm looking ahead and what mods I really potentially need for this matchup and who are looking to be very unlikely to be brought. Unfortunately, it kind of fell down to the shoulders of Blastoise that I yet again didn't see the opportunity to bring it. There were a couple of matchups that it ended up having a very hard time to be able to get the sales match sweeping going. And this was the case also the past 2 battles that I've had in this tournament, when the first week that I end up having it on my roster, we immediately faced the team with Vaporeon, and that was obviously a no-go for Sales Smash Blastoise to get anything going, because it has the water immunity with water absorb that throws its ability, and it got access to something like haste, for example, which completely stops the Sales Smashing to have any kind of effect in the battle. Then we go up against Humpy, the past battle that you saw in this channel before this one, and it had access to Clear Smog. Now it did not end up carrying it in the battle, and I was very surprised that it didn't, because I thought Humpy would have needed it, but he opted not to do it, and the move instead he had over it did win him that battle instead. But prepping wise, it was hard for me to justify to bring the Blastoise for that battle in itself. So in that regard, and considering that who I go up against potentially in this round, before I knew it was going to be Kahuutz, I opted to look for myself to find another water type that also gave me a secondary typing that I didn't get access to, gave me a strong priority, and also being a strong, powerful setup sweeper threat just like Blastoise, but its dual typing enabled me to help dealing with certain threats that I could go up against, like Feraligatr that you're gonna be seeing that Kahuutz end up having on his roster, and the reason why I had to bring this mod for its defensive typing that it allows you to check it, and that is going to be a Sumaril. And this was a mod that I've been always wanting to use as well in Draft League format, so it doesn't seem as painful to drop a mod that I wanted to use for something that I also wanted to use in Draft League scene. But in BST metagame, Asumara did lose some things that are important for what we are used to seeing from it. It doesn't get access to Knockoff anymore, it doesn't get access to Ice Sponge, and it doesn't get access to Whirlpool that it usually uses on the Perisong set that it has been using. But regardless of these nerfs that it has in this metagame, it is still very powerful setup sweeper with the belly drum that you can see. It gives me the powerful priority option with Bandit set or the belly drum set with the Aqua Jet that it can clean out the game for me. But it also still access to a Play Rough and Waterfall and Super Power, which are pretty strong moves in itself and stabs to have still in this kind of metagame, where the only kind of proper checks to a Sumaril defensively wise are Crash Poison types like Venusaur, Victory Bell, Rose Straddle, things like that that some people may still end up having in their rosters, but not everybody's gonna be having one. And the other would be like water types like Tentacruel and Empoleon might be able to deal with it relatively well, but those two things do lack reliable recovery, and something like Empoleon I do get access to superpower still, so it's a still very strong mod and it can deal with majority of its quote-unquote counters. And I love the fact that it gave me that strong check to something like Feraligatr and potentially even Sharpedo if I end up playing that, because I'm still relatively weak to water, so it's nice to have a mod that I know can deal with majority of the offensive water types that I go up against, thankfully because of its natural bull and typing. And now the last mod that I was looking at was something that I was trying to see that, okay, which mod provides me the most out of 9 points that I can still spare on. because I had 24 points, but Asumari cost me 15 points out of those 24, so I had now 9 points to spare, and I was looking throughout the matchups and I saw consistently that teams end up having things like Mamoswine, Beeval, Breloom, very strong physical threats, and Breloom specifically gets access to Spore, and in this metagame you don't get access to item called safety goggles that normally bypasses that sleeping effect that Spore would have, so you would have to run like a random Sleep Talk or Vital Spirit or something like that to get around that, or potentially access to Overcoat as ability, and that was the main attraction to our second member of our team, a mon that I'm not usually a fan of in Draft League metagame, but I'm actually relatively happy that I end up doing this decision, which was going to be picking up the Fortress. Now, with Overcoat we become immune to the Breloom's Spore, which is a great way to deal with that thing if we haven't happen to go up against it. But it also gives me Sturdy, which can be a very good asset to have in a 4 versus 4 metagame where hazards aren't as relevant usually. And it can be very powerful lead in itself if you run like Castaberry offensive Fortress. But it can also be that defensive set, giving me access to also momentum with Volts, which if I see something really likely to swap in on me, something like a Heatran for example, and I don't happen to have Earthquake to hit it, I knew I had the option to pivot around it. And if I ever needed to use hazards, I did get access to still both Toxic Spikes and Spikes, which could have come in clutch still, even though hazards aren't as prevalent. Those are still something to keep in mind if you're that one hazard away getting those O-Calls with my Azumarill for example, or other my offensive threats that I have on my roster. So because of all these things, these are basically the 2 new members of our roster, and both of these will make their debut right away and their impact in our top 16 bracket game versus Kahuutz. And speaking of that, now let's go and see how that battle turned out. Alright, here we are with the battle with Kahuutz, and in regards to the team itself, you're gonna be seeing very briefly at post editing, and the matchup should be showing right about now on your screen. And this is gonna be an interesting matchup because I never got to play this guy before in Draft League scene. I have had chance to see him a couple of times for playing, but I can see myself being surprised a little bit here and there. The things that I expect to see would be his Frostlass and Torterra, since he really seems to be a fan of those 2 mons. Outside of that, I would expect Raikou, because it has a good matchup versus me, and then it's somewhere between of Drapion for my Mismagius and Mesprit. It could be Heatran for similar things, plus for my Crobat. It could be Ferrari Gator, it could be also Ferrari Gator, Heatran, Drapion. Those are pretty much the 4th member of the team, and the first 3 would be Torterra, Frostlass, and the Raikou in itself. So that's kind of like the general idea what I have when it comes to what my opponent brings. I'm bringing myself a Choice Scarf Drapion with 4 attacks, just as a speed control without having Crobat on this team. We have a Husho Berry Rhyperior to help with the Raikou, with Crocs, Roar, Ice Fang, and Earthquake. Ice Fang is just there for Torterra if I need to hit it hard enough with that. We have a... what was the 3rd member? I forget already. We had the... Good thing he's taking his time here. I'm bringing... Right, it was the Azumarill. Of course, the newest one of our newest members. The new members are the last 2 selections on this team. So we have Choice Bandit Azumarill just to revenge skill start with Aqua Jet, or being also a water resist to Ferrari Gator if we see that. And the last member is gonna be my Castaberry, yet somewhat defensive Fortress with 4 attacks including Explosion. And coming into this matchup in itself, my lead options will be most likely between Drapion and Fortress. Fortress will be the lead if I don't see Torterra. And we don't see the Torterra. Okay, so we see... I'm gonna mark his team down. We see Raikou, Espeon. Didn't expect Espeon, as you kinda heard through my early analysis what I expect, but Espeon and Frostlass aren't too big of a deal because I have the Drapion. But I think I like the Castaberry Fortress here as a lead. If he leads with the specs Frostlass and clicks Shadow Ball, it should put me in a range of Casta Berry, which means that after I kill something with that Chaubo, well, after I kill the Frost Slash with Chaubo, barring it being Focus Sash, I can get a big Casta Berry explosion, for example, on something. So I will do that as a lead, but good luck and have fun to Kahuutz. Hopefully it's gonna be fun and quick battle with the 20-minute timer in itself. He leads with the Ferrari Gator straight out, okay. Versus this thing, I think I just want to be attacking it. And not really hard swap into my Asumaro, because I will have my... Yeah, Pin Missile into Explosion can kill this. If necessary, so I think I'll just go for the Pin Missile here. And he cannot flinch me because the Sheer Force will navigate the flinch chance from Waterfall that it runs its Water Stab. Okay, he's just gonna set up turn 1. Yeah, just gonna keep going for the Pin Missiles until he puts me at Focus Sash range. And then we explode. And this is, by the way, nicknamed after a good friend of mine, Martin, who is probably the guy in Traffic community what I've known that is biggest fan of Fortress, and he will defend to his grave how good of a mon this can be. Every time I won't really give it the credit for it, but okay, that's a crit, but that's actually better for me. Because now I will get my Casta Berry. Okay, we are getting another hit off. Technically I wouldn't have to even explode, but I think it's... do I wanna explode here? Because I could just Pin Missile, but after that I would be sacked for something else. Let's just explode here. That's what we were here for. Sorry Martin, you need to blow up at this point, but you're getting rid of one of the biggest setup threats that I have to worry about. And this means Asumaro can be now kept at full health for any type of auto hit from Espion or Foro Slash. Versus Raikou, I obviously will not be able to take a hit, but that helped me out. This will mean that my Drapion is a big winning condition versus the 2 out of 3 members he has left, but now I have to pick and decide who I go into next. Honestly, at this point it might be actually the Drapion, because it beats so many of the potential other things he can bring. The Raikou I can swap into my Rhyperior. But versus the Espion and Frostlass I can just knock off them and kill them from there. As he goes into the Espion. Perfect. So this is a free knockoff for me, I don't really have to think about this twice or whatsoever. I'll spend time on it. Yeah. Basically, now what I could check while we are waiting is that how much damage do I need on Raikou in order for Earthquake to kill it with Drapion. I need about 68% damage. Unless it's like reducing berry or a lot bulkier that I expected it to be. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I wish the BSDB makers would have done a little bit more effort on the Wi-Fi scene, cause on this waiting time it's kinda, you know, quite literal stalemate while I wait for my opponent to click a move. He was Choice Scarf himself, but he doesn't know I'm Scarf myself. But I'm able to take it out just like that. Okay, so this was Scarf. Frostlass I still expect to be Choice Specs, and I really hope he goes into that thingy that this is in a range of that. Because that means I can kill that thing out, and then there's only Raikou left after that. If he goes into Raikou, I'll just hard swap into my Rhyperior, because I think he has to go for Thunderbolt in order to kill me at this range. Okay. So only Frostlass and Raikou left. And we have Bandit Aqua Jet to get the necessary chip on Raikou if needed to. We have Pasho Berry on our Rhyperior to take the Scald. And he does go into the Raikou. So I'll make my play into the Rhyperior on this. Hopefully he doesn't predict this, but I don't want to stay in with this when I need it for Frost Blast still. Yeah, he does go for the Thunderbolt. Now we just click Earthquake. Again, do not have to think about this. If he's Magnerized, then I'll, you know, roar him out or something like that. But I just need this little bit of damage on this Raikou, so my Drapion is set to clean out the game for me. I wonder if the Frostlass expects that if it actually is able to kill me, as he's gonna swap into it. It should do sizable amount of damage, probably like... Yeah, that did quite enough for me. So at this point I could just go into my Azumarill, and Aqua Jet should be able to finish it out. I'll keep this Rhyperior healthy, because I might have to get any guaranteed hit on the Raikou with it. As he does go for the Ice Beam. Don't know really what damage that is, and thankfully the shenanigans didn't happen that I actually worry about back in my head that could happen. But now we click Aqua Jet. Don't get the Curse Body. Well, there it is. But I think it's still okay, because I wanna just make sure versus the Raikou that if I preserve this for Aqua Jet, is that enough for me to get the kill? I don't need to preserve. I don't need to preserve this. I don't know what just happened. I know I clicked something. I think I was clicking battle, but why is it now communicating just wait? Are we having a connection issue? No, okay. So I just clicked the damage remove. He clicks Skull to predict. No, right, now I know what happened. I'm struggling right now. Right, that's the thing what happened. That was a potato moment, but even still, okay, he's leftovers on this. Honestly, I can just let this thing go down. Yeah, no, I forgot about the Curse Body immediately when I clicked the attack. But I'm still okay, I think, staying in. Unless he's sub. He's Calm Mind with it. This should still be fine, because as long as I get it into EQ range... It's funny that I'm using fucking Struggle to get the damage of what I need. Yeah, I just needed it to be like 67% of health, and he should be getting close to there now. And he's only at +1 right now. And he's leftovers with this. Yeah. Raikou should live, or the Rhyperior should live even a crit Scald. Or him getting into +2. But now that he's getting into +2, it means that he gave me this Bandit struggle damage while I'm burned. It's pretty funny. Yeah, that should be in range. That would be funny that if that's not in the range and I lose to this. But it is what it is. But I would like to think that's in range. I've been doing quite a bit of damage to him. So we go into Drapion and we click Earthquake, and ideally that's the game. One way or another at least. So we go for the Earthquake, we outspeed. Just thankfully please kill it off, and we do kill it off. So Struggle Bandit Azumarill with being burnt while I potatoed. And I forgot about the Curse Body actually helped me to get into range of my Earthquake for my Drapion. So totally intentional endgame plan that I had there. But regardless of that, good game to Kahuutz. That means that we are able to move on into the top 8 of this playoff bracket. I will not know who I play again, because every time that we play, we get randomized from the other half of the coaches that are still left. So I play somebody between 5th to 8th seed random wise. So I cannot tell you right now as I'm speaking who I play next. But I'm excited regardless who we go up against. I'm really enjoying the BFO searches. Are really fresh of air after playing Sword and Shield for so long. And playing 4 versus 4, so thankfully I'm able to still move on and get more battles done for you guys. But thank you for watching and stay tuned for the top 8 playoff game that I will be coming back next week. And until then, thank you for watching it again. I'm gonna be see you guys later.